Hello and welcome back to my channel. On hold with me, Lindiwe Ncongwane. Thank you for watching my first video and commenting and interacting. I really appreciate it. If you're coming for the first time on the channel, please subscribe and set a notification so that you're reminded every time there's a new video. Don't want you to miss anything. All right, so this time I want to have kind of like a theme around family secrets. All right, but I have my own angles around those, so I will have different conversations and scatter them around the weeks. I'll see, you will see. I'll just mention the theme when that comes up. Today I want to talk about siblings, undercarpet siblings. So I'll start with my story because I have a very interesting one. So I was about 22, 23 when I first met my father, and we sat down and he told me all about him, and I was asking questions. And the most important question for me was around children. So how many children do you have? And then Dad there says, okay, I'll tell you. I'm like, okay, why don't you just tell me? So he says, no, don't worry, I'll tell you. All right, so the evening goes on and I remind him, children again, and he says, no, I will tell you. So then I was wondering, so I asked him actually, so are you thinking, are you counting, or what is it? He says, I'm counting. Counting is, okay, that's going to be interesting. Eventually he gives me a number and he says, I have 11 children. That includes you. Okay. 11. All right, for me interesting because wow, such a big family, so many siblings. I'm going to meet them, and obviously I pestered him around meeting them and giving me contact numbers for one of them, which he did. And the first time I met my sister, I just looked at her and she looked at me, she's like, no, you are my father's child. And it was just beautiful. Until today we have a relationship. So that was the beauty about the whole situation. Few years later, my father passes away, and the week of the funeral, now that's the week you want to be at. More siblings coming forward. As they come forward, they call my father's younger brother, Ncongwane, and they will tell him there's a child that has come forward. And to my surprise, Ncongwane only would ask 3 things. What's your name? What's your surname? And who's your mother? Or maybe where does your mother live? And from those questions, Ncongwane would know exactly who you are and will validate. He will actually tell you your story. Oh, your mom's worked for government. Your mom worked as a nurse. Does your mother still do this? And does she still live here? The whole thing, like validation, done. No DNA, no data, nothing, done. So come funeral day, there's about now 17 to 18 of us that have come forward, and we're all there. And my father's cousin stands up to talk about my father, and then he says the same thing. Listen, my brother had so many children and so many wives, and I acknowledge all of you that are here, but this is not everyone. There's more. There's a child in this area, there's a child in that place, there was another woman at that place, there was another woman in that place. And obviously people who were there were intrigued, there were giggles, it was excitement around this whole story because wow, it was such a unique story. Oh, another fact that you need to know about is that in the year I was born, there's actually 3 of us that are born on the same year, not so far apart, like a few months apart. So as much as that could be really like boring for other people, for us, it was mind-blowing. We were excited. We felt like we were the triplets and everything. We just enjoyed it. You know, we just loved the story as it was. So my mother was obviously there accompanying me for the funeral, and some of my father's ex-wives were there. So some of our mothers were there. Now, reflecting on that day and those events, I'm realizing that our parents actually were surprised. They didn't know anything about anything. You know, they would, some of my father's ex-wives looked at us and thought, I mean, I can't even believe, how old are you? You know, they couldn't believe we are just as old as we are, and so many of us, we can't even figure out who's first, who's second, who's third. We don't even know anymore. And they were surprised. my realization is that it's not that there was no one in the family that didn't know about all of us. People knew, but they didn't tell them and they didn't tell anyone. So obviously they were protecting their own brother and protecting maybe their marriage as well. But nobody thought about the children and what they were missing out on, because as children, we really, really, really wanted to be together, even though the situation didn't allow. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword, you know. Either this whole thing, either it destroys the parents' relationships or it destroys the children's relationships. Anyway, eventually, you know, after the funeral, there would be more siblings that come forward. So eventually there was about 30 of us. Now, out of the whole lot, can you imagine how many people, how many of my siblings I'm close to? There's only about 3. Because when you meet your siblings at those ages and they are older, people have already started their lives and they really don't want any drama. So it becomes difficult for people to gel and to start new relationships at that time. So that was the unfortunate part of the whole story, because as much as we were so many, we are still all alone and we're still scattered and we are not together. That is where I found that it was very unfair, because the parents were protected and the children were never given the privilege to be together. So knowing what I know and being in this age and generation, I'm just wondering that do we in this generation still do that? Do we still not tell our siblings or tell our children about their siblings and everybody? I understand that circumstances may be different, but where possible, do we make efforts at least to do the right thing? You know, so maybe that's what I'm asking this week. If you can tell me about your story and tell me about if the secret still and the children that are undeclared, why is it still that it is like that? Why can they not be brought forward? You know, what is the big reason really? That I would like to know. So another fun question that I want to know, I know with us, we play very different roles in our families. Some of us are secret savers. So you're the person that knows everything, get told everything because you keep everybody's secret. Or are you the secret spiller? So you tell everything you know, so nobody wants to tell you anything. Or you are one of those that just never do anything, are always the last to know and never in the loop. Which one are you? What role do you play? All right, so let us know. Let me know. Thank you again for watching this week and have a good week.